Hi guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. I am so excited to be here today. Today I'm flying solo, so thank you for being here live. Thank you for being on the replay. Today we're going to talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies in an intimate relationship, and how the polarity actually pulls you, it's a magnetism that pulls you together, and it's chemistry and science. Hi guys, my name is Noelle Agape. I am a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. I am a quantum energy trainer, and today we're going to go deep into relationships. We're going to talk about understanding what relationships are in the energetic field before they're actually in the physical body. We're going to talk about merging the 3D and the 5D energies and communication through the energetic fields, and understanding the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies and how they play a role in the polarity of your relationship. So let's get started, guys. I am so excited to be here. Thanks so much again for being here on the live and the replay. If you want to like, share, and subscribe and send this out to the world, more people need to have this information to truly just get centered in themselves and their relationships. So let's jump right in and let's talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies and how they truly play a role in the parts of a relationship that you're in. And so today is going to be more focused on intimate relationships, but you can truly use this in different ways as well. You could use it in business. You can use it with your kids. You can use it with your friendships, because there's always a masculine and feminine energy within inside of everyone. And if one of them is out of balance, that's when you're in the wounded energies, right? And so if you're in the wounded energies, a lot of the time you're coming from the victim space. And so we're going to go deep into what the wounded energies look like. We're going to go deep into how to, move them into the divine energies, and how to truly move into the space of beautiful divine energy, of how you're supposed to dance in this beautiful mirror of relationships. So first, I want to start off by saying that relationships are mirrors to us, right? And what does that actually mean? And I know that a lot of people in this space have talked about that often, is that there's nothing in the external world going on that is not going in your internal world. So like attracts like. We're going to talk about the electromagnetic fields and how you truly, what part of that is the feminine, what part of that is the masculine in the quantum fields. So we're going to go deep into relationships today. And so with that being said, let's start with what it looks like in a relationship when it's a wounded relationship. And then we'll move into the divine relationship and how to actually transmute that energy, and what to do and how to move into that. So stay to the end, guys, because I want you to all hear. I'm going to give you key takeaways of how to actually transmute energies at the end of this video. I'm going to show you how to truly step into your power and move from a wounded space of victim into empowerment. So let's start with the wounded masculine energies, and that's very, very prevalent in societies today, right? Is the wounded masculine is looks like it's aggression. It looks like it's forced energy. It looks like it is very, very domineering, and there's not a choice, or it's very avoidant as well, right? And so again, both women and men, this is not a feminine, this is not a he/she thing. This is everyone has masculine and feminine energies within inside of them that do actually need to be healed, and the more that we heal ourselves, the more we heal humanity, right? And so the wounded masculine often comes out as the avoidant personality, right? And so the runner chaser personality, the person that avoids when there's conflict, and it looks at like ghosting. It looks like gaslighting. It looks like a lot of narcissistic behavior. It looks like a defense mechanism to run as soon as there's a problem. And when the chasing energy, right? That's when you're in the chasing energy, it's really a masculine energy to begin with. So men are supposed to. They're the hunters, right? By nature, by our neural net pathways, and for since the beginning of time, men have had to go out to hunt, right? And so our, I call it reptilian brain, that we're overcoming is really moving into where the men feel the most comfortable with when they're hunting, right? But in the wounded space, when they're not hunting, right? When the masculine's in the space where they're in an avoidant situation, what they're doing is they're actually running from their masculine energies, and then going into their wounded feminine energies. And it's a big thing in society today to be very, very casual, to cut people off very easily, to dismiss a connection, right? And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next segment, is the difference between connection and the four stages of making it to compatibility, which is the four stages of a relationship, right? And so in the divine feminine and the divine masculine, that's when you're both in your power and you're coming together as two wholes. And so when someone's in the wounded masculine, what happens often is when they're in the avoidant personality, what happens is they attract people that are in the anxious personality, which is really the wounded feminine energies. And so the anxious personality is, oh my gosh, this person is leaving. Oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I'm not, and it creates all this anxiety to cause the chaser, right? And so that is the wounded feminine, is when you're chasing things. Because when you're in your divine feminine, you're leaning back, you're intuitive, you're nurturing, you're loving, you're in the flow. And when you're in your divine masculine, it's structure and it's procedure and it's action and it's motivation, but it's from an enlightened space. It's not from a wounded space. And so what happens often is the personalities attract each other. Unless you're in a secure space within you, you're going to either attract either the wounded masculine or the wounded feminine, because the divine feminine cannot attract the divine masculine and the divine masculine cannot attract the divine feminine. They're only going to attract the like attracts like, and I'll explain the electromagnetic fields for those that don't know, of how attraction actually works, and how the law of attraction is what everybody calls it, when it's really just energy. It's like attracts like, and it's science and the science base behind it. But what happens is that your unconscious and your subconscious mind go into your wounded child and they say, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel safe to me right now. Oh my gosh, we're in a fight. Oh my gosh, I got too close. I have a fear of intimacy. And the level of intimacy that you allow in is the level of security that you have within inside of you. And so when you understand that, and you understand that the level of intimacy is our birthright, right? When we have the deepest level of intimacy with somebody in an intimate relationship, again, this is going to be mostly focused on intimate relationships today, but you could use this as, in business or any relationships. With that being said, the wounded feminine will always attract the wounded masculine, and it's what's happening is you're matching energy with each other's wounds. And so if it's a toxic relationship, or if it's chaotic, or if it's up and really really highs and really really lows, or if it's somebody's chasing and the other is avoidant, it's all wounded energy, and it's a wounded child trying to be with a wounded child, as opposed to a spiritually mature relationship, which we'll talk about in the next segment, and what a spiritually mature relationships looks like. And so those of you that don't know, like, my journey with relationships were really truly, there was a coming from the wounded space. I had a history of abuse, as well as, I had a lot of death in my family. And so the men in my family either hurt or left, right? And so that's what my inner child knew: men hurt or leave. And I was attracting people that were in that wounded space because we were matching each other's energy. And for the first time in my life, I'm in one of the healthiest relationships I've ever been in my life, because it's a spiritual mature relationship. And I'll talk about what a spiritual mature relationship looks like, because I did the inner work, because I healed my inner child, right? And so your inner child is from 0 to 10. Anything that has happened to you in your life, it may not have been as dark as mine, but there may have been times where you didn't feel good enough, you didn't feel worthy, you didn't feel whole and complete, you didn't feel lovable, you didn't feel safe, secure, and protected. And what happens in that space is that's how you learn how to love, right? And so when you understand that that's how you learn how to love, that's what you're emanating and projecting out there. And so you have heart walls that you put up, so you protect your heart, so you don't go have that wounded child in your unconscious mind is saying, hey, this isn't safe for me right now. So I'm either going to run, I'm going to abuse, I'm going to hurt, I'm going to lash out, I'm going to be in the victim, as opposed to looking at it from a divine space and saying, wow, this is a mirror to me. What's reflecting back to me? Oh, wow, that person's running. What does it mean when that person's running? How do I respond when that person's running? Am I in my wounded feminine? Am I in my wounded masculine when that person is running away from me? Do I become anxious and throw, blow up their phone or blow up everything? Uh, do I chase after the person or do I lean back? And then do I observe the situation? Do I look at it from a place of awareness as opposed to a place of hurt and wounded? And so, I'm still navigating this in my new current relationship. Yet, what I have found is that the greatest thing in the world is that when you have communication and you understand and you have awareness and you understand that you take accountability for not just your emotional intelligence, but your spiritual maturity. And that's how you get to the divine feminine, and the divine masculine is truly through spiritual maturity. And again, we're going to talk about that in a whole segment about spiritual maturity and how that is taking accountability. First, I want to talk about like the magnetism of electromagnetic fields and how important it is to understand when you're in the masculine and when you're in the feminine energies. All of your chakra systems and your energy centers have a masculine or feminine energy. And so if one of those are not in alignment, right, it's your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body, and your energetic body. And I speak about the four bodies on this channel a lot, is that the physical body, right? And so are you getting a shot of dopamine from that person, meaning that you're addicted to the way you feel when you're with that person? Or is it truly that you're moving past the dopamine hit and you're that's the first attraction piece, is that the attraction is, oh, I like this person. Oh, that person likes me. That's the hit of dopamine and the serotonin and the oxytocin that happens when the chemistry is there. It's the initial attraction that pulls you in. Now, this space, your wounds don't really start to come up because this is really just the space of like, oh my gosh, this is all dopamine and it feels so good. And people fall in love with the attraction as opposed to the person, really, in this stage. And then moving to the next stage, which is it's tremendous and huge. And it is, you're moving from that to the little yeses of the chemistry of, wow, I actually really like this guy, or woman or a man, and moving towards, oh, hey, yeah, I want to spend more time with them. Oh, wow, I actually really am drawn to this person. It's there's more than just the chemistry, right? And that's the next stage, is you move into the little commitments that are yes along the way. Now, this is where people get tripped up, because the little commitments of yes along the way, you create a story in your unconscious mind of that, oh my God, this is my lifetime. This is the person that I'm going to spend. This feels so good. I've never felt like this in my entire life. And this is about the space that usually your wounded masculine and your wounded feminine get triggered, is when you move into the commitment piece, because the little yeses along the way will trigger your fear of intimacy. It will trigger, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not safe right now, I'm not lovable. And this is where most live their life in relationships, right? They don't move into what the compatibility piece is. And my previous show last week, I went into all four of the topics, but the compatibility piece is, not only am I attracted to this person, not only do I really care about this person, I'm committed to this person, but how compatible are we? When we fight, how do we fight? When we're together, how are we together? Are belief systems the same? Do we have similar things in common? Can this person go on this life journey with me, right? And that goes back to the season, reason, or lifetime that I talked about in my last show, and I'll actually link it below. But what happens for this episode, what happens in the wounded space is, this is the more that people either commit to the dopamine and the physical attraction that they feel, or they commit to the way that they feel, right? And so when you go into a relationship and you haven't healed your wounded masculine and your wounded feminine, what comes up so often is the avoidant and anxious personalities, the runner chaser dynamic. It is the, this drama that you live your life in drama. One, that's not emotionally intelligent, nor is it spiritually mature. But two, it's not from God, source of the universe. Everything comes back to love. Everything comes from love within you and love within yourself. So when you're in your divine feminine and your divine masculine, how the divine masculine looks as it shows up, right? The masculine energy is structure, it's procedure, it's strategic. It is basically coming towards you, right? It is a giving energy, and the feminine is a very receiving energy. And when you lean back, and this is, even just physically lean back or emotionally lean back, and you receive, and so many have a problem with receiving love on the highest level because of their inner wounds that they haven't healed their inner child. So what I teach is to go back in and heal your inner child, but don't stay there, right? Because you can't stay in the energy of the problem to get to the solution. And so the solution really is understanding that with the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies, it's supposed to be this dance of, like, there's supposed to be tension, not tension in the sense that you're exploding on each other and it's never okay. Tension in the sense of it's this pull towards each other, right? And so the pull is the electromagnetic fields, and the electro is your thoughts, right? So your heightened sense of thought is, and your thoughts become, patterns, and your patterns become beliefs, and your beliefs become reality. And that's the electro, right? We're all energy, and when you understand the energy behind the masculine and feminine energies, that's when you really have this beautiful dance as in a relationship. And so the electro is the thoughts, right? The momentum of the thoughts, how often you speak of the thoughts, how often your neural net pathways and your ridges in your mind. I teach NLP as well. And so how often the thoughts have become patterns, and the thoughts have become beliefs, and the beliefs have, sorry about that. The thoughts have become patterns, the patterns have become beliefs, and the beliefs have become reality. That's the electro, right? That's what's going on in your unconscious mind. 99% of that is not actually in your conscious mind. A lot of what most don't understand is 90% of what's happening in your outer reality is happening with a program in your unconscious mind. So the magnetic, right? So that's the electro is the masculine energy. That's the thinking, the mind, right? The analytical. That's more of the space that is the masculine energy. The feminine energy is the magnetism, right? This is where you're pulling people in, and it is the magnetic fields, right? And so if you think about a magnet, if you have two magnets that are, the same exact frequency, they're going to attract each other. But if the magnetic is one is too much of a negative and the other is a negative, if you have two negatives, what's going to happen is it's eventually going to repel each other. And that's what happens with the feminine and masculine energy so often, is that it starts off as this beautiful polarity of the magnetic fields is the heightened sense of emotion, right? And so the magnetic fields are the chemistry, and it is, you're pulling the people in and you're magnetized by it, and it's so beautiful. And that's really the divine feminine is the magnetic fields of it. When you understand that once the polarity, the honeymoon phase ends, and that's when everything gets raw and real, and that's a different turning point for each relationship. Sometimes it's in a couple of weeks, depending upon how close you are. Sometimes it's in a couple of months. But what always happens is your wounds come up as mirrors to teach you your soul's lesson, because your soul came here to evolve into the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So what happens is the honeymoon phase ends, and then you move into this crazy energy of having polarity. And what happens often is, when the feminine energy moves from the wounded feminine into the aggression of the masculine, and the masculine energy moves into either the wounded feminine, or you're both in masculine energies, you start to bang heads, or you're both in feminine energies, wounded feminine. And so you can't be in that sexy attraction, like that yumminess in a relationship is the polarity, that is the electromagnetic fields. And it's like this dance between the masculine and the feminine energies, and leaning back and taking action. But the more that you're trying to force something into it, is really truly understanding that, like, if a man, for example, I'm just going to use a man and a woman in the sense, it could be he, she, he, he. It could be or them, right? It could be anything, but the energies of the masculine and the feminine, when you have two masculine energy, how it looks is one, it's a battle for control, right? And so one is fighting for control and it's manipulation, and it looks like this dance of really the wounded masculine looks like it's I'm going to pee on you, I'm stronger than you, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to manipulate you, and what it takes to do that exerts a ton of energy. And in the feminine energies, when it's wounded, is the victim, right? It is, this happened to me, you were this, and I'm blaming you. And it's the victim loop, right? Of the hero, the prosecutor, and the victim. And the two of you are doing that with yourself. You're going through the hero, the prosecutor, and the victim all in one loop, as well as in your relationship, right? So when you're in a spiritual mature relationship, or when you're in a space where you're emotionally intelligent and from awareness of, how is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? Oh, okay. My soul has come here to evolve beyond this, right? My soul has come here because relationships are mirrors, and everything in life is teaching me to be a higher version of myself. Everything in life is showing me that there's a newer, better version of me, that it is my birthright and I can step into my power, right? So if that's the case, and nothing external is going on, that's not anything that's not going on internal, what's a big, huge quantum reality is that it's a version of you. That person, since we're all one and connected into the quantum field, that person is actually just a version of you that is showing you either where you are in spiritual maturity or where you're in your wounds, right? Big, huge concept, meaning that if that person's a version of you, and we live in a field of infinite possibilities, there's actually a better version of them and a better version of you that you get to connect to. And we're going to talk about that at the end of the show, of how to actually move through that. So that's the physical body and the mental body, right? You understand that the physical body is just the dopamine. It's the initial attraction. It is the attraction stage. It's not really the commitment stage. The mental is more of a commitment stage. It's dealing with the wounds. Then we move into the emotional body, which is the heart, right? And so your heart space is where you go into all of your fears into the relationship. And again, that's the wounded space. But when it's, your heart is open and your heart is in the divine masculine and the divine feminine, it is ease and flow and love and grace. And I'm not saying that it's always like that. It's bubbles and unicorns, but it is so much easier of a journey than in the victim or in the analytical space, right? And so love is supposed to come from the emotional space. And the more that you're connected to God, source, the universe, all that is, the quantum fields, their higher self, the more that you're going to feel that love, and the more that you're going to be open to love. You're going to be open to receiving and giving love in this beautiful dance. Right. And so we're going to take a quick break right now, because that was a lot, but we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to talk to you about what it looks like as emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity in a relationship, and how you, when you're in your masculine or when you're in your feminine, you can actually pivot into when you're in your wounded masculine or wounded feminine, you can pivot into being in your empowered state, which is your divine masculine, divine feminine energies, guys. So stay tuned, because we have a lot more relationship advice about through the quantum fields, and I will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. I am Noelle Agape. I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. I'm a quantum energy trainer. And today we are talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies in an intimate relationship, and how they have a dance of how you get to bring out spiritual maturity through you into a relationship, and how relationships mirror everything that's going on within your internal world, right? And so your relationships are the greatest teachers in the world. Thank you guys so much for being here on the live. Thanks for being on the replay. But I want to talk about how relationships are the greatest teachers in the world. And so everyone says, I want to find my soulmate. I want to find my soulmate, right? And what you actually want to do is mate with your soul. So you are whole and complete with someone else when you get in there. And this was my life journey, right? I had 4 great loves in my life, now 5 great loves in my life. And, the journey was always I had the beautiful, beautiful love for these people, but we weren't connecting, right? And so I've said this in a couple different episodes: is there's a season, a reason, and a lifetime, and all of them were more that they weren't seasons. Seasons are just, this emotional, beautiful experience that you have, but then the season comes to a close, and then you both move on with your life. And those are really hard to get over sometimes because they feel so good. And there's a lot of dopamine in the seasons. With the neural pathways and the soul lessons and the wounded child and everything, those are the reasons. Those are the reasons why you've come here to evolve in your relationships. And your lifetimes are the spiritually mature relationships. You have emotional intelligence. You want to spend your life with this person. You've made a commitment that you're compatible with this person. You can see your life merging together, and you're doing incredible things to work together in this relationship, right? Because you're not always going to be in the divine masculine. You're not always going to be in the divine feminine, but you work together to move into compatibility so you can have a lifetime with these people. So the lifetimes can have seasons and they can have reasons, and it is the commitment to each other that you're constantly on a daily basis committing to being the higher version of yourself on a daily basis. That's what it looks like in a spiritual mature relationship. Is you show up and you say, I understand that this is not going to be just easy and bubbles and unicorns, but what I do understand is the more that I do the inner work, the more that I work on my wounded masculine, the more I work on my wounded feminine, the more that I see my soul lessons and I learn what I'm supposed to learn, the more that I actually take action and accountability for my actions, my behavior, and I'm not responsible for that person's behavior, nor am I responsible for their lessons or for their healing. What I'm responsible is how I react and respond for them. That is spiritual maturity in a relationship. And it is really, one of the greatest things. And as I've said, in my relationship now, what I do is I pause. Why? And it took us a while to get here. It was a little bit different than other relationships where, it was the wounded versus the wounded. This was the wounded right off the start. And then we had to decide if we were compatible. We had to decide if we were moving forward. We had to decide where we were, what we wanted. But we had to make the commitment to do the work, and we had to recognize each other's wounds. And that's the next stage of it, guys, is awareness, not saying you're wounded and you need to do this and do this and this and this for change. It is when I see this behavior from you, it triggers this in me, and I respond in this way. How can I respond in a better way? How can I be more spiritual mature? How can I not manipulate? How can I not avoid? How can I not be anxious in this space? How can I be more secure in this space? And raw and real, guys, last week was one of the craziest, toughest weeks of my life because we went through this, and it was like we went through a crash course immediately in it. Yet both of us were spiritually mature enough to have a conversation afterwards and say, okay, this is where I got triggered, and this is my internal wound, and this was bringing up my wound, and this was teaching me this, and this was showing me this, and this is my boundary, and this is your boundary, and how can we merge the boundaries and not cross them, and how can we love and honor each other as beautiful divine beings as opposed to coming from the wounded space, right? And so with that being said, a spiritual mature relationship looks very, very, very different than a emotionally immature relationship. And so an emotionally immature relationship, you could be 80 years old and have an emotionally immature relationship. An emotionally immature relationship looks like the runner chaser dynamic. It looks like the manipulation. It looks like the narcissist and the empath. Those are very, very low vibrations that people choose to live in. And that's what I say all the time. It's a choice, guys. Like, right. You get to choose. And believe me, if someone is like abusing you or not crossing the line or doing anything that is hurting you, then you should absolutely leave. But if you're not doing the inner work on your masculine and feminine energies and understanding the electromagnetic fields and how energy works in relationships and the energy that you're putting out and the energy that you're receiving, and are you giving too much? Are you not giving enough? Are you just leaning back and being in your feminine power, or are you in your king, or are you in your queen? Whatever it is that you need, however it is that you need to describe it, every single day of your life, you have to make a commitment to you. And this is what the difference was for me, guys. And it clicked in this relationship. It just, for me, it was like, wait, no, this is not him. This is about me. And I'm the problem. Look at all of the relationships that I've been in. What's the pattern of that? Oh, how have in my old relationships, what do I need to do different from my old relationships? What do I need to do differently to honor my partner? What do I need to do differently to honor myself and my children and my family? What do I need to do differently to understand if this is compatible or not? What do I need to do to work on to move to being a spiritual mature person, having the relationship in that space? And it's not an easy journey because your ego is going to tell you, no, 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 this is, this is narcissistic behavior. Oh, no, no, look, he's doing this, this, and this. Or you say, wow, this behavior is not really serving me. It's not accepting me. The only way it's serving me is by teaching me a lesson, but it wouldn't be showing up in my life if I didn't have something to learn from this. What can I learn? How can I be better? What do I need to do differently? How can my actions affect me? And how are my actions affecting him? How are my responses affecting me? And how are my responses affecting him? And it is such a breath of fresh air when you say, this is mine. I'm going to own this. I'm going to take accountability for this. I'm going to see where I can be better. I'm going to see where he can be better, right? I'm going to test to see if he can be better. I'm going to give him the opportunity to be better. If he crosses the boundaries again, then that's, not him being conscious of me. But when the masculine and feminine are in their power, again, not a he, she thing, but when your masculine and feminine energies are in alignment, it looks very different. It looks like respect. It looks like honor. It looks like there is confrontation, but you move through the confrontation in a different way. It looks like you're both working towards being better people for the greater good and for service and for whatever you're supposed to bring out to the world together. It doesn't look like a battle of control. It doesn't look like one is above the other. It doesn't look like the anxious or the avoidant behavior in any way. A secure relationship is knowing, and this is the greatest thing that I've ever learned, is you can intend to spend the rest of your life with someone and hope that that's the case, but maybe just take it right now. I'm all in, and I'm all in with working with myself, and I'm all in with working with you. And if it goes well today, maybe tomorrow we'll do the same thing. And then for the rest of our lives, we'll decide to work on ourselves and work on each other and work on the relationship and change the energy of the relationship. And one of the biggest things that happened to me, which was like an aha moment for me this week, was because I did have such a polarity, the polarity of the week. And I'm going to talk about polarity and how it's so important for the attraction. And what happened with me with the polarity was we were at the lows of the low of the relationship and then the highs of the highs. And I stopped and I said, wait a minute, what if we transmuted the lows of the lows and got through the lows of the lows and did the inner work, not only on ourselves, but with each other? What a powerful spiritual couple we would be if we took this and transmuted it into love, if we transmuted it into patience, into kindness, into not harming others. 1 Corinthians 13:3 through 8, 4 through 8 is like my staple, right? Love is patient, love is kind. And so if you don't know that, go look it up, because that is the divine feminine and the divine masculine in one scripture. It really is. And so Understanding that you have to take accountability and you're not responsible for other people, but you are responsible for your actions, right? So what happens with the polarity? And this is the biggest thing that I can teach you guys, is that it swings from codependent to independent, and you swing on that pendulum. What your spiritual maturity is finding interdependence. What is interdependence? It is understanding that you're co-creating with another human in your life, and you're not codependent on the dopamine. You're not codependent on the way they make you feel. You're not looking for love in all the wrong places. You're not looking for love in an outside source, but you're looking for love within you and bringing that love out to them and receiving that love back to you. The independent, swinging on the other end of the pendulum, is F you, I don't need you. I don't need you in my life. I could do this without you, right? And that is the avoidant, right? And the shut down. And so moving from the anxious and the needy behavior of the wounded feminine to the avoidant and the abusive or aggressive behavior of the independent, right? And so often what we don't see is that the interdependence is our peace. The interdependence is our calm. It's our lavender, right? It is this beautiful dance. And every spiritual teacher has ever spoken of this, right? Every spiritual teacher has spoken of neutrality. And when you swing through the polarity, it's fun as anything at the blissful points. And it is soul sucking at the lowest points. But when you move through a spiritual mature relationship and you're in your divine feminine, you're in your divine masculine, you're allowing him to be in his masculine, or he, she, whatever it is, you're moving through life, you're committed to each other, you're making the compatibility, you're working on the compatibility, you're moving through this dance of the polarity, of the push and the pull, and allowing sometimes to lean back and allowing sometimes to lean in, and what that looks like. And when you understand that the neutrality space is love, right? You're coming from a place of love. You're coming from a place of interdependence. I am whole and complete, and I'm bringing my whole and complete heart to you and my whole and complete energy to you. So in the first segment, we talked about the physical and the mental body. This is the emotional body and the spiritual body, right? And so the emotional body is being emotionally mature enough to handle spiritual maturity. What does that mean? It means understanding the emotional intelligence of your accountability for your actions. Apologize if you do something wrong, but the best thing that you can do is change the behavior, because an apology without the changing of the behavior is truly just staying in the wounded energies, right? It's staying in the victim. And one of the things that we had to work on in our relationship is it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission, right? And instead of that space, what we worked on was, how about we come together and we, compromise with two very powerful energies. Sometimes it's hard, but again, that's the push and the pull of this is, the feminine and the masculine energies, and doing the dance with inside of that, right? And so some key takeaways that you can do, we're going to have in the next segment of some key takeaways, what you can actually do in a relationship, how you can get through when you're having a tough time in the wounded space, and how you actually get to the empowered space. We're going to take another quick break, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to actually teach you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to sit down with your partner and have conversations that are spiritual and mature, because it's so important to understand that communication is one of the key components of this entire thing. And communicating from a wounded space is very, very different than communicating from a space of empowerment. So guys, we will be right back, and we'll get ready, because we're going to give key takeaways for you to actually heal your relationship from the wounded and move it into an empowered state. We'll be right back, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. I am Noelle Agape. I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. I'm a quantum energy trainer, and I'm here to tell you that your intimate relationships are truly, truly one of the greatest gifts that we have in life. And in the first segment, we talked about how to actually move through the different bodies, the mental body, the physical body, the emotional body, and the energetic body to be in your divine feminine and your divine masculine energies and what that looks like. Second segment, we talked about polarity and understanding the polarity of swinging in the pendulum and claiming interdependence, right? To move into spiritual maturity. Interdependence means that you claim your power, you claim who you are, and you understand that, together you actually rise together and you're learning together and you're moving through your soul contracts together and you're moving into your sacred contract, which is your purpose, right? From that space, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to do key takeaways of how you can actually do things, right? First and foremost is do the work, right? I meditate for an hour in the morning and then an hour at night. But in the morning, what I do is I actually set an intention for the day. And this is something that I do not just in my relationship, but I also do it with every aspect of my life. It is such a huge component that I use, and I teach it to every one of my clients. So what I do is it's called segment intending, and I wake up and I have an intention for my day. Right. I intend on what things can be. And I have so much gratitude. I have so much gratitude for my home. I have so much gratitude for my family. I have so much gratitude for my partner. And what I do is I pour love into myself first and I fill my own cup. I get right with God. I pour love into me through meditation and I find out my connection with God instantly as soon as I wake up, right? When I go from, into a theta state as soon as I wake up. So my subconscious and unconscious mind are malleable enough to receive the messages that are coming through from source. From that space, what I do is I truly just I merge with the energy of it, and I'm like, I send so much love to my partner. I send so much love to my children. I send so much love, and I see myself and my partner and my kids doing amazing things and connecting and loving and just being in the vibration of love. I feel it, I see it, I know it. And then I wake up out of meditation, literally, guys. I wake up out of meditation. I usually meditate for about an hour in the morning. I have a journal right by my bed, and I free write. I call it brain dumping. I get everything out that needs to come out. But the greatest thing in the world that I do, guys, is I'm always in gratitude, and I'm so grateful for my partner. I'm so grateful for our home. I'm so grateful. And so segment attending is putting yourself in the energy of something already. And this is the energetic body, right? We're moving from the physical body, the mental body, the emotion body. We're now moving into the energetic body. You're becoming the energy of what you want. I am so grateful for our spiritually mature relationship. I am available. I am emotionally available. I'm physically available. I'm mentally available. I'm financially available. I'm emotionally available. And I'm telling myself and convincing my mind, because your mind is a computer and your body is a machine, and we program both. And I'm convincing myself, because your mind doesn't know the difference between old energy or new energy, that this is the best relationship of my life. And again, I'm not convincing myself from a place of woundedness, like to get out of the wounded. I'm convincing myself that this is the best relationship of my life because I choose to be in that vibration. I choose to have accountability. I choose to take action. I choose. Last week when we had, the things going on in our life, I chose to be in a higher vibration and get through it and transmute the energy. Energy does not go away. It only gets transmuted. So if you choose to see it as the lesson from a place of awareness, that's emotional intelligence. Understand, is it fear? Is it anger? Is it hurt? Is it sadness? Is it guilt and shame? Do I not feel worthy? Am I not good enough? Am I safe, secure, and protected? Am I not lovable? Am I whole and complete? What is actually going on? What is this teaching me? How can I grow? How have I acted? How can I be? What was good about this situation? And what am I learning? What needs to be different about this situation? And what needs to be better, right? What needs to change completely, and how this needs to be better? This is all the process that I go through literally every single day of my life, because you every day different things are going to come up in your life. I journal and I stay in gratitude. And when you're in a higher vibration, you're going to attract a higher vibration. And people that are not in a higher vibration sometimes will stay with you, other times they'll fall away because they're not, when you're doing the work, the other person has to do the work with you. So this has to be a commitment to both of you moving in that direction. I go through my day, and as I go through my day and I'm segmenting and intending, whatever shows up in my reality, there's sometimes where I have to pivot, and there's raw and real, guys. There's sometimes days at a time that I have to do this work until it actually transmutes the energy. Sometimes it happens instantly, right? But there's something, I mean, last week it was an entire week that I had to go in and do this work because it was such a deep wound, right? From my abuse, from my father, from everything that happened. It was such a deep wound that I had to go in and actually heal it. But I needed to make a conscious choice. Do I want to live in the wound, or do I want to actually have a beautiful, spiritual, and mature relationship with one of the best men that I've ever met in my entire life? And do I want to continue this wounded pattern, or do I want to change it? I changed my energy, and it changed the relationship's energy because it allowed him the space to work on himself as well. Right. And that is such a powerful force field when you understand that when you lean back and you do your work and you do the inner work, it actually transmutes the energy for both parties. I go out through my day and, focus on the positive as much as I possibly can until I can't. And then when I can't, that's when I either need to meditate, I need to take a nap, I need to go for a run. I'm a very physical person. So I physically move the body for me. I know how to mind hack. I know how to biohack. I know how to energy hack. And I do that. And again, last week, it took me an entire week to mind hack, body hack, and energy hack because that's how deep the wound was. But I continued to move through the work. And as I continued to do my work, it changed his behavior, it changed his perspective, it changed who he was. He was showing up differently for me because he was in his divine masculine and I was in my divine feminine because I was doing the work. At the end of every single day, guys, what I do is I journal everything. I brain dump. This is what happened today. This is how I felt today. I loved how I felt when this happened today. I didn't like how I felt when this happened today. What was that actually teaching me? What was that showing me? How can I be better tomorrow? How can I take accountability for my actions right now? How can I clear my energy? I literally clear my chakra system. I clear my aura. And I say, okay, today is ending. I'm ending this day and basically have like a death every single day because I'm rebirthing as soon as I wake up. But one thing I do, and this is what I teach, is I teach you how to lucid dream. And so when you understand that like your subconscious doesn't stop, neither does your unconscious. So I keep my journal right by my bed. There's days that I wake up at 1 a.m. and I get downloads. There's days that I have dreams, and your dreams and your unconscious are always telling you where your vibrations are also. So what I teach is that before I go to bed, I prime my subconscious after I do all that. Before I go into meditation, in my nighttime meditation, I was like, okay, this is what do I need to learn in my meditation? What do I need to learn in my sleep? I'm going to learn this with the greatest and highest joy. I'm very advanced in the quantum fields and understand 3D, the 5D, the 4D astral travel. I understand all of it. So I understand what can happen while you're in the dream state. Those that are not that advanced, that's okay. What you could do is just stop and say, well, it's my intention to have beautiful, restful sleep and heal anything that I need to in my heart space, in my energetic space, in my physical space with this relationship before I go to sleep. And the greatest gift that you could do is just open up your heart, put your hands on your heart, and drop your energy from your head to your heart and just start pouring love and gratitude into your partner, right? Even if there's times where you need to forgive or accept what's going on, there may be times where you can't get to forgiveness, but if you can get to acceptance, that's at least transmuting the energy, right? And then keep working in the acceptance space until you can get to forgiveness. You're not a victim, right? You are more powerful than you'll ever know. And this exercise alone, just doing this for 30 days will transmute your life. I promise you guys. In the morning, you do the exercise in the morning, you go out throughout the day, and you analyze as an observer and have an awareness. At night, you literally, you go into your thinking brain and you say, all this, you clear it before you go to sleep. Because if you're bringing that energy into your sleep, that's when you're looping in the vibration of the old day. I'm going to tell you an energy hack because this is really important to understand that the vibration that you are living right now in this present reality is actually old energy. So it was the energy that you have created in your unconscious and subconscious mind that is looping through you. The only way to transmute that, is to understand in the present moment, right? So if you're living in the future and you're so in the future, that's a lot of anxiety. If you're living in the past, it's usually depression. But if you pull it together and you're present right before you go to bed and you're like, wow, the fan feels so nice on my skin, the sheets are so nice, I'm feeling in so much love. You bring gratitude into your heart for everything that you have after you've analyzed what was good for the day, what could be better, and what needs to be different. You let that go. And then you pull yourself into gratitude and you just really fill your cup before you go to sleep. You find self-love. Okay, this is my boundary. Okay, this boundary was crossed. You are the best relationship with you. When you have the best relationship with you, there is nothing that can come between you and another good relationship. Because when you have the best relationship with you, it's you and God, you and source, you and the universe coming together and co-creating your life. And when you understand that, guys, when you understand that you get to choose your vibration, you get to choose your partner, you get to choose your divine masculine, you get to choose your divine feminine, you get to choose the polarity, you get to choose if you're an anxious behavior or avoidant behavior, you get to choose. And it is so beautiful and so kind and so loving when you feel this powerful self-love enough to live in awareness of what is going on in your life on a daily basis. It is the most accountable, responsible, mature thing you can do in a relationship is when you take care of you. You understand your needs, not from a victim space, but from an empowered space. You understand their needs, not from a victim space, from an empowered space. And you have interdependence with each other. Wow, we're doing this. We're growing together. We're moving through this. We are absolutely making a commitment to being the best version of ourselves and showing up for the best version of ourselves. That way we come together and we can actually emanate love at a higher frequency. And when you understand the frequency of love, it is one of the highest frequency in the planet, right? It's above that is enlightenment, bliss and enlightenment. But if you're starting at the lower vibrations of guilt and shame and fear and anger and hurt and sadness, and you're moving up the vibrations, right? And anger is actually better than fear because it has momentum. But you're moving up the vibrational scale to, when you move from all of the lower vibrations to hope and acceptance, right? And then beyond that, it's forgiveness. And then you get into the vibration of love. And you can move up the scale very, very quickly if you are the observer of your life. If you do these things on a daily basis, if you commit to yourself, if you say, wow, that was not in my power right now. Oh, wow. How is he not in his power right now? And it's not your job to tell someone else when they're not in their power. It's your job to be in your power and set boundaries and say, this is acceptable. This is not acceptable. And if someone continues to cross those boundaries, it's your responsibility to either walk away or put up stronger boundaries, right? So what does it look like in the divine feminine and the divine masculine when they're dancing in their power? It looks like the feminine energy is receiving and leaning back, and the masculine energy is a supportive energy, right? And so the masculine energy comes home to the feminine flow. And so the feminine flow is ease and grace and joy, and the masculine energy is structure and procedure and it comes very, very strategic. So it's, merging the thinking brain and the heart. And so that's heart and mind coherence. And when you understand that heart and mind coherence is one of the most important parts of the relationship, what I do is I tell you to scan your body, how you're feeling in your body, scan the right side of your brain, scan the left side of your brain. Ask your right side of your brain and your left side of your brain what's going on. It will always tell you, right? In meditation, especially in meditative state, the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, then when they're not in coherence, your heart and mind can't be in coherence. So you have to start with your mind. What does the right side of your brain want? What does the feminine or the masculine energies want, right? It will tell you. What does the left side want? where can we meet in the middle? What's the compromise? What's the interdependence of your left and right side of your brain? Then from there, drop your energy into your heart and ask your heart, what does your heart want? And see where your heart and your mind are. Are they in coherence? Are they in discord? And you can't be in discord and coherence in the same time. So the vibration of coherence has to move into compromise sometimes. It has to move into acceptance. It has to move into forgiveness. It has to move into not being wounded. And so the heart and mind coherence is one of the most powerful energies that you have in the electromagnetic fields. Really, when your heart and your mind are in coherence, it's an instant manifestation. So how do you do this? 1, you meditate. 2, you find self-love. 3, you find the things that you love. 4, you find interdependence, and you truly make a commitment. You go from the attraction space to the commitment space, to the compatibility space, and you do the inner work. It is so important to understand, and it is so, so prevalent to know that without question, you can change your life, and you can change your life tomorrow. It is absolutely without question, your choice. Your choice to be in a spiritually mature relationship, your choice to live as the highest version of you, your choice to do the inner work, to take accountability, to not be responsible for other people, but to be responsible for you and how you respond. It is your choice to live in the divine feminine. It is your choice to live in the divine masculine. It is your choice to be interdependent in your power. And the greatest gift in the world is when you are living at the vibration of love and you are living at your highest power. You are coming together with another human. Your souls are coming together to bond at the greatest, highest vibration. That is one of the strongest, most powerful things you can bring out to the earth. When 2 or more come together, it is the most powerful energy. When 2 or more come together in the electromagnetic fields from love with heart and mind coherence, we change humanity. Guys, you are more powerful than you'll ever know. Your relationships are a choice. The relationship with you, yourself, and God is the most important thing you can do before you have a relationship with someone else. A spiritually mature relationship looks like I am whole and complete, and you are whole and complete. And together we can bring the vibration of love out to humanity, raise the frequency of the planet, and change all of the hate in this world. Because energy does not go away. It just gets transmuted. The power of a relationship is one of the most powerful things you can do. You could use it as a weapon, or you could use it as a tool. I choose to use it as a tool. I choose love. I believe that love always wins. And I mentioned a scripture, and I'm going to mention it again. Those that are on here are super spiritual, so you know. It is 1 Corinthians 3, and it is 4-8. And it's love is patient, love is kind. And, I'm going to read it to you, actually, because I think that that's super important to end the show on that. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. And it always perseveres. Love never fails. You are more powerful than you will ever know. Make conscious choices in love today. I love you so, so much. I'll see you in the next video.